He woke to a soft, irregular thudding that he could feel in the earth. Along with it came a deep crunching of pine needles, then the breathless, almost pained snuffling sound that could only be made by a troll. Boromir lay perfectly still in the mossy hollow he'd made into his bed. The owl that had been hooting on the edge of his sleep fell silent before flying off. In his peripheral vision, he saw the moon resting on a high bank of milky cloud above the trees. He was glad that he'd pulled up his hood before he fell asleep, and that it now shaded his face from the dim moonlight. As a rule, trolls had poor eyesight, but had a certain sensitivity to sources of light, however dim. This was a big one. A stone troll, half hidden by the washing line he'd rigged between two trees. His tunic and surcoat swayed in the breeze, revealing the bulk of the troll as it scratched at the earth with a long, crooked branch. He'd seen a company of them from afar once, in the Morgul Vale. They lumbered along, carrying great hammers or long iron pikes that looked as though they could take out an entire company at one swing. They were chained together at their neck collars, goaded on by their orc masters. Even from a distance, Boromir had felt their brooding strength, their sheer power. This one was wild, though. It wore nothing but an iron collar, so it must have escaped its thraldom in the Eton Moors and wandered south. The thing raised its head and sniffed the air. Boromir was downwind of it, but something had spooked it. It looked around in the dark, panting like a wolf, and then it turned to Boromir. He had no time to think how or why the stone troll had seen him, but it was now charging towards him like an enraged bull. He sprang up from his bed and grabbed his shield, stepped forward as he drew his sword. The troll stopped in its tracks, and there was a definite look of surprise and confusion on its horny face, as though it wasn't expecting this turn of events. It stood a dozen yards distant and staggered a little as it stared at Boromir. As it lurched forward, it raised the branch and swiped it from side to side as it lumbered towards him. Boromir struggled to pull his shield on and swiped his sword a few times, hoping to scare the thing. But it kept coming. He darted to the side and brought his sword down on the sturdy branch. Boromir twisted round as the troll abandoned its cloven weapon. It turned to him, throwing its massive fist in his general direction. He held up his shield and the blow rammed his arm into his flank, winding him. He rolled over and jumped up away as the troll grabbed for him. Again he brought his sword down and on the huge fist, hacking again and again. The troll wrapped its huge fingers around Boromir's shield and yanked it. Boromir screamed in pain as he felt his shoulder dislocate. The troll wrenched the shield from Boromir's arm and tossed it away. As the troll lunged for him, Boromir dived over a fallen tree trunk, yelping again as excruciating pain shot through his injured shoulder. He tried to scramble to his feet, but grunted as he felt the thick fingers around his ankle. The troll started to drag him back over the log by his leg. He moaned as his dislocated arm trailed behind him. He knew that he would have to do something now if he didn't want his leg breaking. Again, he hacked at the massive arm, but it was like chopping ironwood with a butter knife. Yet with each blow came a little whimper of pain, and finally, the troll released its grip. Boromir scurried away, back towards the log, sending yellow leaves flying. The troll snorted, and a thick thread of drool dripped from the corner of its mouth. As it turned to him, a crossbow bolt hit the thing in the calf. The troll staggered and roared, and another bolt pierced the troll's exposed flank. Boromir looked around for the bowman. He forced himself to his feet as the enraged troll regained its footing and staggered towards him. A dark figure appeared from the bushes across the clearing. The troll stumbled back as the half-orc spy charged at Boromir, holding aloft a long knife. Boromir held up his sword as the half-orc sprang off the log and struck. Boromir blocked the blow, but then the half-orc leaped aside as the troll continued its own attack. As Boromir jumped over the trunk and twisted around a tree, the half-orc reappeared holding the long knife. He blocked another blow, but the half-orc grabbed, twisted, and prized his sword from his hand. The tree cracked and shook as the troll barged into it. Boromir headbutted the half-orc's face before running across the clearing. He picked up his shield and ran through the trees as the troll turned on the half-orc. Boromir ran up the slope towards the edge of the gorge. He tottered to a halt before peering down at the rushing river far below. A bolt whipped past his head. He turned and ducked down, holding his shield before him. He scanned the trees for the half-orc, but instead the stone troll came charging towards him. Boromir looked around desperately. Then the half-orc broke cover. It shot at the troll, but the bolt glanced off its shoulder. Boromir ran wide of the troll, down through the trees, and came about towards the half-orc. He rammed his shield into him, throwing him towards the troll. The half-orc rolled to a stop as the troll bounded back down the slope. Boromir ran back towards his camp. Looking back, he saw the troll wrapping its fist around the half-orc's leg. "Snap!" the half-orc screamed in agony. The troll released him and watched him writhing in pain. As the thing took a step back, raising its immense fists, the half-orc held up its own hands in defense. The troll drove its fists down, crushing the half-orc's chest. And again, Boromir was running. As he sprinted across the clearing past the log, he heard the troll charging after him. He snatched up his sword and led the thing up the slope towards the washing line. Wincing from the pain in his shoulder, he ducked under the line, faltered, and dropped his sword. The troll charged through the washing line as though it wasn't there. But as Boromir dived to one side, the troll tried to peel off the damp clothes. Boromir jumped up and crouched behind a tree, watching the troll as it tripped and stumbled in the washing. He glanced down at the leaf litter and saw the dark silver line of his sword. As he rushed towards it, the troll threw up its arms, turned towards Boromir, and knocked its head on a low branch. Boromir drove his sword up into the troll's throat. It took a step back, and Boromir pulled his blade away. The stone troll looked at him as it took one last gurgling breath, then fell backwards over the edge of the gorge. Boromir ran back down the slope. He found the half-orc barely conscious, its leg back to front. The long knife was lying on the ground just out of reach. Boromir picked it up and threw it aside. He grabbed the half-orc by the collar, and it moaned with pain. He pulled the half-orc's mask down and looked upon a face both human and orcish, dark, deep-set eyes under small round brows and a small upturned nose, ugly but not monstrous.
"Who sent you?"
The half-orc grimaced. Boromir looked at the spy's bent leg and lowered his knee down onto it. The half-orc screamed, but Boromir kept the pressure on.
"Who sent you?"
Thranduil,
The spy grinned.
"Liar. Who sent you?"
Denethor, Thranduil, Theoden.
"You are nothing but an abomination of Saruman. Why have you been following me?"
Again, the half-orc grinned but turned its head away. Boromir held his hand above the shattered chest. The half-orc glared at him defiantly. Boromir rested his hand on his breastplate.
"Why?"
The half-orc shook its head almost imperceptibly.
Isildur's.
His answer ended in a ragged, gurgling sigh.
Isildur's bane?
Boromir shook the abomination's shoulder.
Isildur's bane!
The half-orc let out another gurgling breath. Then its entire body seemed to sink slightly into the ground. Its black eyes stared blindly up at the rustling leaves. Boromir stared at the dead half-orc for a while, then bowed his head. He growled with frustrated rage and pressed his hand to his forehead. He sat back on his haunches and padded his saturated tunic. He felt no other pain than the agony of his shoulder, but he checked his fingers for blood. Finally, he realized he was still wearing the water skin over his shoulder. He lifted and uncorked it, but he already knew it was empty. There was a large tear along the bottom seam. The old drinking song came to mind, and he longed to be sitting in the cracked flagon, downing a tankard. After an age, he tried to push himself to his feet, stumbled, tried to stay upright, then passed out.